Hey guys, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. I want to talk about a topic that I haven't talked about in a long time, which still impacts home entertainment and watching movies at home, as my channel name suggests we talk about here. But I haven't talked about it in a while, since like back in April or May, and I wanted to bring it back up because I saw some really interesting news on the Disney Plus release of Mulan. And I want to talk about how this pandemic and how the shift to digital may really affect movie theaters going forward. Hey everyone, so thanks for coming back to the channel today for this video. Like I said, I saw a report from Yahoo Finance, and they were reporting on the results that Disney saw from their release of Mulan on Disney Plus Premium. So I want to talk about that a little bit, talk about some other things that I've recently been introduced to, and talk about the kind of movie industry as a whole and how that's affecting movie theaters and my prediction for where this thing may go. So first off, I want to talk about Mulan and the Yahoo Finance report. So Mulan, if you don't know, was supposed to come out this summer. It was obviously delayed. It was, it had a $200 million budget. Disney put a lot of money into this. They were hoping for, international splash as well as a domestic splash, especially in the Chinese market. But everything sort of tanked, obviously, this summer. Theaters were still closed. And so what they did was they opted to put it on Disney Plus as a premium add-on. So to get a Disney Plus subscription, you still need to pay $7 a month. But to access Mulan, you need to pay an additional $29.99. So essentially it's a $30 movie rental to watch that as of this time, before it becomes free 6 months down the road. So the numbers that are coming out of this Yahoo Finance report are pretty significant. They're talking about there's 60 million global subscribers of Disney Plus, and assuming that roughly 50% of that is based in the US, where they could rent the movie for $30, they saw that 9 million, so about 30% of that group, actually went and rented the movie. So you're talking about $270 million on the conservative end of things that this movie made them on Disney Plus. Now that number is not official, it's not reported by Disney, but Disney's CFO is quoted as saying that they're very pleased with the numbers, and I'm sure they are, because the thing you have to think about here, and I compare it to Tenet. So Christopher Nolan's movie Tenet, he forced it to go into theaters. He wanted people to see it in IMAX. Theaters are still slow to open. People are still slow to go back to theaters. Tenet only made $20 million in the US on its opening weekend. As of week 2, which was this past week, it's only up to $29 million, and we'll see what happens in its third week. So it's under $30 million total. It's taken some more dollars worldwide, globally, but it's still sitting at around $200 million international total with the US, which is low for a Christopher Nolan movie. In fact, it was his worst opening, even worse than The Prestige, which is a much lesser known movie of his. It was his worst opening since like Memento and The Following, which are his first 2 movies. So now compare that to what Disney is saying Mulan did in the first couple of weeks it was out there, and they've made $270 million just in the US. That is a crazy number. That is, we're talking 10 times more than what Tenet made. And I think that speaks a lot to the way people are thinking about movies now, the way that they view the movie theater experience, and the way that the future is kind of headed. Because the other thing is, Tenet and Warner Brothers, that 20 million, they've got to split that with the movie theaters and all the different chains. They're not taking home, they're taking home like 60% of that total. Even if you go to a video on demand service, say they had released it on, Fandango Now or Movies Anywhere or, anything like that, they take home about 85%. So when Universal did that with Trolls World Tour, they took home 85% of the profits. The difference here is that if you release it on your own service, like Disney Plus, or if Universal released a movie on Peacock, which is the NBC Universal streaming, they're taking home 100% of the profits. They're not paying anybody to license that. So Disney is taking home 100% of that $270 million. Now, I can't imagine if they put it in theaters, it would have got nearly that response. It probably would have done even worse than Tenet. I don't think that there'd be a ton of families going out and taking their kids to movies. I think Tenet is doing better because it's more adult focused. You can go with just you or a couple people. You don't need to bring the whole family. And that's the big difference. And I think Disney is just going to see the dollar signs and try to ask themselves, why are we even splitting 70%, 80%? Why aren't we just taking 100% of the profits? We just made $270 million in the first 2 weeks. That's far better than they probably expected to do, even if it was in theaters. And so what I think it comes down to is really like movie theaters, to me, are getting pretty close to being killed off. They're finished. I think that there's going to be the major movie events that do well in the theaters when this pandemic's over. So you'll still see your Tenets and your Batman movie, Avengers Endgame. Those are movie theater experiences. But a movie even like Mulan, and if Disney has other stuff that they can just put right on their service and make all the profits, I really don't see why they're going to give the theater any benefit or any cut. They're just going to take it and put it in your homes. And this is especially true for family stuff. Like, I can't imagine if they had done this with Frozen 2, how much money they would have made and been able to keep 100% of. Because if you think about say a typical family of 4 who wants to go see Frozen 2, $10 to $15 a ticket depending on when you go and where you're located. In the city it's more expensive, but even by me, I'm an hour outside of Boston, it's $12 a ticket. So say it averages $40 to $50 for movie tickets for the family. That's just to get in the door. So now you've already spent $20 more than what Mulan cost you at home. Now you got to get the popcorn, you got to get the candy, the kids want a drink, whatever it ends up being. You drop another $30, $40 on concessions easily. Now you're looking at an $80 to $90 movie night for a family of 4, where they could stay home, pay $30 to rent Mulan, put in their 50-cent bags of popcorn in the microwave. You could even order takeout and spend $30 or $40 and still come in $20, $30 cheaper than going to the movies. Plus you do it in the convenience of your own home. I think that's a huge selling point, and I feel like that's where we're going to see a lot of movies move to, especially now that the theaters have opened and there's still a very limited response. Movie theaters have been kind of slowly dying over the last few years anyway, except for the large event movies. And I think this really hurts them to the point where it's going to become like going to a Broadway play. It's got to be an event. Going to the movies is not going to be something that you do every Friday. It's going to be something you do a couple times a year, and that's really going to hurt the movie theater chains when all the other stuff that you're interested in, well, you can just pop on your couch, put it on your TV. Maybe it's on streaming for free on a service you already pay for because it's a Netflix exclusive, a Hulu exclusive, Amazon Prime exclusive, or maybe you got to pay $10, $20 to rent it. But it's still cheaper than going to the theater, and you get to sit in your own couch and be comfortable, and nobody else is talking or bugging you. It's a comfortable experience, and I think especially for families, they're going to like that. Now, the other cool thing that comes out of this is the fact that it opens up movies, I think, to more people. Depending on where you live in the country, you don't always have like a readily accessible movie theater to go see some of these movies in, or you may have a really old movie theater, it's outdated. Now when you're at home, you've got a 4K TV, you've got 4K projectors that are reasonably priced. You can get a 4K projector for under $1,000. You can set up a home theater so easily now, it's so much more accessible that I think more people are doing that. And so one example I have is there's a movie coming out called Antebellum. And it was, fairly hyped up online. I saw commercials for it during the NBA playoffs. It had been hyped a little bit. And it's from the producers of Get Out. Lionsgate's putting it out there. And they decided to go completely video on demand. Now, that's the type of movie that a lot of people probably wouldn't go to the movie theaters to see, but a lot of people may pay and rent it and just watch it at home for $10 or $20. And the interesting thing for me is that I can now get access to new release movies and review them for you guys even before they hit disc. So in the past, I'm an hour away from Boston. There are screenings that I've been invited to go see movies and do a review for the channel. And I haven't been able to do it because they're on a Tuesday night in Boston at 7 p.m. I'm working a regular 8 to 5 job. It takes me an hour, hour and a half to get to Boston with traffic. I'm barely making it there if I'm lucky. Then it's another hour, an hour and a half to get home. I'm not getting home till 10:30 or 11 on a Tuesday night. It just doesn't work out. Life doesn't work that way. If I lived in the city, I could go to all those screenings all the time. But now with the way digital distribution is being done, I was actually able to watch Antebellum today, and I'm going to be able to review it for you guys this weekend and give you a new release review of a brand new movie that I was able to access through a screener link because that's how they're putting it out there. Didn't need to drive to Boston, didn't have to go through all this different industry stuff. I watched it at home in my own convenience, and for me that's exciting because it opens up a whole new avenue for the channel where I can talk about movies and do more movie reviews to talk about the content of the movie and, you know, the storyline, plots, like what I liked about the movie, which is something I'm interested in moving to, as well as covering physical and covering discs. But now I can talk more about the movie itself and cover some of these really interesting new releases. So that was cool for me. But like I said, it also opens up that movie to a lot of people who may not be able to get to theaters, may not have access to a theater. Maybe it's hard. Maybe you've got 2 kids and you want to go see this movie. It's not family friendly. You can't find a babysitter. Babysitter is going to cost you $100 for the night. You can't swing it. Well, now you put the kids to bed, you pay $20, you can watch a new release movie on your couch. There's so many reasons why this is really a better model for most movies. I still want to see Tenet in an IMAX theater, and I still want to see the new Batman movie in IMAX, but like it's really going to become an event thing and not let's go to the movies, it's Friday night. I see that going away. Theaters significantly shrinking down to just the major chains who can sustain themselves, and them making a really big deal out of these event movies and really not getting much of anything else. Because if Disney can make $300 million in 2 weeks and not have to split that with anybody, what do you think they're going to do? So that's it. I just wanted to give like a quick, my thoughts on this because a lot of people have asked me about it. It's been a very hot topic, and this thing with Antebellum and the fact that Lionsgate reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want to watch this? You can watch it at your home and do a screening and do a review for your channel. And I was like, well, yes, 100%. It just jogged my mind and made me think about wow, the way this industry is really shifting. So, between the Yahoo article about Mulan and those numbers, and, there's 60 million people in the US, or 30 million at least in the US on Disney Plus. The numbers are crazy. And I think, physical media is here to stay, I would say. But I think that the theaters go away for the most part. Much more comes to digital direct, $20 rentals. Watch it at your home in the convenience of your home. Watch it on your 4K projector. Do whatever you want. You can get comfortable and not have to leave the house to drive a half an hour to a movie theater or find a babysitter. That's huge for families, young adults, young families. This is a massive change in the way things work. Movie theaters, I think they're finished. I think they're finished as the way we know them. And that's sad. It's sad to a lot of people, but I have to say, even myself, life gets busy. As you get older, life gets even busier. It's hard to get to the movies. I keep seeing myself waiting 3-4 months and watching these movies on Blu-ray for the first time or 4K. And I'd love the opportunity to just watch a popular movie at my house, and that's what we have now. So thanks for watching this. Just make sure you follow me on Instagram. Check out all the other links down in the description. I will have a review of Antebellum coming soon, so if you guys are curious about that, make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications on. I'm going to do that this weekend. It'll be my first, one of my first. I've done Star Wars movies and stuff before. One of my first, movie reviews that's not physical media. So hopefully you guys like that and I do a good job. I'm going to try. But anyway, thanks for watching again. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.